In this video, we're going to begin creasing the rest of our objects in our drone. All right, so we've gone through a lot of the parts on this. We've even finished up the battery that goes into the back of this. Everything seems to be smoothed out really, really well. I'm happy with the details that we have so far. So I would congratulate you on getting this far and the job that you've done with this. I hope you've had a lot of fun going through this so far. So we're at a point to where we're just honing our skills with creasing and smoothing and detailing these things. The blocking into the forms is the major work. The detailing is, there's just a few little things that we'll need to do. So let's go about this really quickly. So we've already added our open subdiv to all of these pieces. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just start creasing these different pieces, just starting with this one right here. With this, I'm happy with its overall shape. We might add just a couple of creases. Let me select this and hit ring. Let's go to connect. Let's do 2 segments on this, and we'll pinch that apart to around 60. And then I'm going to hit OK and then chamfer that. Okay, and so with those chamfered, let's go ahead and pull it down all the way, and then I'll just bump that up a little bit. And then let's go to polygon mode. Select those rings of polygons, and then extrude those in the local direction, negative space. Let's do negative 0.2. That seems to be the magic value we've been using. And then let's add the crease set modifier to this. So we'll do crease set. And then to select things very quickly on this object, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select all of the edges, and then I'm going to hold down Alt and then deselect the loops. And actually it doesn't, well, for some reason it's not deselecting the loops that way. So let's go ahead and select this one and then hit ring. And there, yeah, that's really good. So let's go ahead and just create that set. Let's do 0.2. It hardens that up really well. Looks good. Our wires and everything are great. Let's go ahead and move on to the next piece here. So we have this object, and we can go ahead and add our crease set modifier because we are finished with the detailing of that as well. Remember, we added those panels in by learning how to use the Swift Loop tool. And so with this, let's go to edge. And looking at it, I'm pretty happy with the overall shape of like the corners and things like that. I really just want to shape up the panel pieces. So let's select those. And let's turn off the open subdiv on this really quickly, just so we can see the original object. And let me check this. And I might try something here. Let's try to select all of the edges that are around 90 degrees. And this is basically selecting all of the hard edges, and it's doing a ±5 on that. And it selects everything that I need on this actually. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll create a crease set from that. And with our open subdiv turned back on, let's go ahead and do 0.2, and you'll see that we get our detail back. So very cool way of selecting edges on that, and that might actually speed up your workflow quite a bit. So now let's go ahead and go back to crease set, turn that off. Let's move on to the next piece in line there. And with this, we've done the same thing. Let's go ahead and add a crease set modifier to this. Let's see what it gives us whenever we select just all the edges that have 90 degrees on this. And that's really, really close to what we're looking for. Let me go ahead and double click on this loop and this one. Okay, all the way through on that. It feels good. And then we'll just add a crease set to this. Do 0.2. And what I would do at this point is just kind of take a look at what edges have been creased and maybe just add in a few here and there. And what I like to do is just have those selections already there. And whoops, set that back to 0.2. Try that one more time. There we go. And I'm going to right click and add selection to that. Feels good. Let's hit F3 really quickly. I want to add this loop right here that goes up the side. So right click, add selection. Okay, see how it hardens that up. The one on top looks like it might need to be selected as well. Actually, it's already added to it, so that's good. To harden up this, instead of having it round, I want to kind of keep that original shape there, and on this one down here as well. So let's right click and add that to the selection set. Okay, that feels good. Now we have this really round edge right here. So what I need to do is I need to select this edge. Oops. For some reason it's not selecting that one. There we go. And let's add these in here as well. I just want to make sure that those are there. Right click, add selection, turn on the open subdiv just to see that. Now right here, there's something going on right here. It's continuing to keep that around. Let's isolate that really quickly. And I can already see it. We have an n-gon here, and something happened whenever we created this. So what I'm going to do is with the crease set, remember we can't go down. We have to add another edit poly onto this. So let's add the edit poly after we've already done the crease set work. Let's go to vertex mode, and let me turn off show end result. And let's take this edge, or these vertices, and connect them. And let's do that here. And then I'm going to go to edge mode, selecting those two, and I'm going to connect them. And then let's scale those in toward one another. Let's do local, scale it in the X, and that'll create that loop there. Okay. And so now with that, if we take a look at our open subdiv, you can see that that has modified it. Now, one thing that I don't really like about that at all is basically this edge. And what I probably should have done from the beginning, let's go ahead and target weld. What I should have done is taken this vertex to here, and then here to here. And then I'm going to take this down. Okay, that's that new edge that I created. I should have just cut it across there. So let's go to edge mode, double click on this edge, and then just hit Control Backspace. So now that that has been done, let's go back to the open subdiv. You can see that we're now getting a better shape, but it's not quite what I want it to be. So let's add the crease set modifier again, and let's go to edge mode. Select that edge across the top. Okay, just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll add the crease set here. So we'll do 0.2. And then let's show that end result. And that feels much, much better. All right, looks like I need to add this loop here. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. All right, so really happy with the results that we have here, except for this edge right here. So add that. And then let's do this edge. I think this has already been added to it. Okay. And that feels good. So let's go ahead and add here. And there we go. And actually, it's right here. There's this edge right here that we can't see. Let's hit F3. This one right here. Let's add it as well. So there's that flatness that I was looking for. Okay, so we've got a little bit of roundness going on here. Let me select all the way around the bottom of that. Okay, that's all been added there. That feels good. Okay, so now we've got that piece. Let's go ahead and turn off the isolation. Got our piece there, that feels good. And then we have this piece here. So with this one, I don't see any other details that we need to add to it. But I know that the overall shape, I had pretty much everything there. So let's just add a crease set modifier. And I'm going to go to edge mode, and I'm going to select all the vertices on that piece. Let's just toggle it. And I just want to deselect these edges that make up the cylindrical part of that. And so let me try this one more time. Select all of those, and then let's deselect these edges. Okay. And actually, I could do this. Let's hold down Alt, deselect those, and just right down the middle here, and then deselect these edges right here. Okay, so that feels good. I'm also going to deselect, oops, I'm going to deselect this. All right, I think that will work. And then we'll just add this to a selection set. Let's do 0.2. There we go. So we have that shape. Most of this was going to be hard anyway, but we really don't want to add those to that selection set. So we want to keep that nice and round there. Okay, so that looks good. Turn this off. And then now all we need to do is start working on the camera. We also need these pieces here. Now remember, these are instances, so we can go ahead and just do one. We don't really have to worry about the rest of those. So I'm going to add the crease set modifier above the edit poly right there. Let's go to edge mode. And then I'm going to just select one of these loops here and then hit ring. And that feels pretty good, except for these loops right here. So I'm going to hold Control. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. Let's do these first, and let's add them to a crease set. Let's do 0.2. So it hardens those up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these loops, go around the edge like this, and then I'm going to hit ring. And I'm going to do this all the way around for all 4 of these pieces. And once I hit ring on that, then what I can do is add those to another crease set, do 0.2, and there we go. So now it's hardened up those edges. Okay, very cool. Now we could also select the bottoms if we wanted to do that. Now because the edges that we already have are part of an edge set, I'm just going to add these to it. Okay, so that works just fine. So now we've got these pieces. These look great. Now there is one edge right here on the bottom. Not really sure what happened here. Let's add it to that selection, but I feel like there's something else at play here. So let's just isolate that. Anytime that you get some pinching like this, what tends to happen is maybe we have this edge that has been added to it. And I think that's what's happened. So let's select just these, right click and subtract from selection. And you'll see there that we no longer have that pulling in place. So that feels really, really good. I'm happy with that. This is okay because this is supposed to be kind of like a plastic piece there. And then we'll just back up, turn off that edge segment. That's smoothed out really nicely. Hit F4 to just view it without the wireframe. And I'm really, really happy with the way this is looking so far. So now the final thing that we need to do is get all of the camera parts detailed and smoothed, and that will wrap it up. So let's go ahead and move on into that next lesson.